Hello and welcome to the Redmen TV. It's daily news time. It's Thursday. We've got a few stories that we're going to talk about. So obviously we're going to talk about Simon Mignolet, Karius, their futures. We're also going to discuss Joe Matip. And I think it's probably prudent to talk also about Klavan and the news coming out of La Liga about them moving actual La Liga games over to America in a 15-year partnership. Just think it's quite an interesting one that could probably or possibly affect the Premier League at some point. Also, I'm going to try and keep still today. I've firmly planted my feet on the floor for you all, and hopefully the chair doesn't wobble too much as I shake my way through another daily news show. So we're going to start with Simon Mignolet. Now, yesterday it came out that Napoli were close to a deal for Simon Mignolet. It looks like they've been keeping their options open. It looks now like they're actually going to go for David Ospina from Arsenal. And Simon Mignolet's future remains unclear at Liverpool. I think they were looking for a loan deal because they've just signed a goalkeeper, a young lad, for about 21 million who got injured in pre-season, didn't he? And Liverpool obviously were looking for close to about 12.5, 13 million quid, something like that for Simon Mignolet. Now, I was speaking to James Pearce earlier on today on the Newsroom podcast on the website, discussing this amongst other pieces of transfer news, and he was saying that he still thinks a deal will probably get done for Simon Mignolet, but it could be at the moment, it could be that, you know, if a good deal comes in for Karius, we could let Karius go. Equally, if Liverpool manage to get a decent loan fee and maybe his wages off the books, they would consider a loan move for Simon Mignolet, who clearly wants to go elsewhere. To get first team football, by all accounts, he's had it. Look, there were rumours, earlier on in the summer of him maybe moving to Barcelona as a backup, but nothing seems to have come from that. I think he clearly wants first team football, probably feels that he deserves it, and at 30 years old, it's a time of his career when he absolutely needs first team football. Before we get into the comments, we'll talk a little bit about Karius, and this one is from Turkish-football.com, who I've been on my radar quite a lot recently. It seems that a lot of Turkish clubs want a lot of Liverpool's leftovers. Now they're saying that Liverpool boss green lights the Karius exit, but transfer could end up hinging on Super League giants selling the Grado and Vida. So Jurgen Klopp is apparently, and I'm not sure whether I believe this, given Loris Karius the green light to leave over the summer, according to Aksam newspaper. I don't know why they've managed to get an inside line with Jurgen Klopp, but it seems like they might have done, or not. Per the source, Besiktas have been forced to seek alternative keeper targets after Napoli signed David Ospina on loan. Karius is among the keepers on the Black Eagles shortlist. Besiktas want the shot stopper on a loan move. Shot stopper. Right. Klopp is prepared for Karius to spend the season abroad to clear his head and get his career back on track after having his confidence knocked following his performance in the Champions League final. The article actually claims that Klopp is even prepared to sell Karius for the right price. I'd be surprised about that one, just because I think that his value is probably at an all-time low right now. If he goes away for a loan move, performs well, I think his value will start to steadily increase again. Probably does need that year to go and clear his head. I think a loan move would probably be a good option for Liverpool Football Club. I think it's something that, you know, he's clearly a talented guy. You know, he's clearly a talented goalkeeper. He's a good shot stopper. He's good with the ball at his feet. I jest before, but his head doesn't seem to be in the right place, and maybe Liverpool's not a club where he'll be able to succeed at just because of those mistakes that he made in the Champions League final. He does have the full backing of the match-going crowd, though. I think that's been evidenced over pre-season, and you know, definitely the Torino pre-season friendly, where, you know, the loudest applause sometimes in these pre-season games was for Loris Karius, and to you know, us showing him that we do support him, and if he does pull on that Liverpool jersey once again, he will get the support because he's wearing that badge that we all love so much. So, another one from Turkish football, Mourinho could end up sealing Liverpool defenders' fate after another Super League outfit step up efforts to complete transfer before the 1st of September. So this one is Mourinho, it looks like, has said that Marcus Rojo will not be going over to Turkey and Fenerbahce, but Klavan was on their shortlist, so they look to be making Klavan a priority now. So it says Fenerbahce have made Liverpool defender Klavan a transfer priority after United manager Mourinho blocked the exit of Rojo, according to Fotomak. The Turkish sports newspaper wrote that Mourinho's decision may inadvertently result in Klavan moving to Fenerbahce. And again, this one, for me, it doesn't make sense. Like, if he wants to go, yeah, fair enough, I know that Klopp's a humanist and does care what people think and doesn't want to keep people against their wishes. But with the injury history of Matip and with Dejan Lovren, I'm looking at Ragnar Klavan thinking he could be an important squad player for us this season. You know, he played games last season, played games the season before. Because of Matip and Lovren's poor injury record, now maybe he doesn't want to be fit choice centre-back at Liverpool, and that's fair enough. It looks like Joe Gomez has certainly pushed himself in front of Ragnar Klavan. Maybe that's because he's more of the right-sided centre-half and Klavan obviously left, playing where Van Dijk plays. Maybe also you could consider Nat Phillips an option at centre-half after his good pre-season, but still I'd like that experienced centre-half in Ragnar Klavan personally to stay. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. On injury and injuries and centre-backs, Joel Matip hands Liverpool a fitness boost ahead of a after coming through a practice match. So we had a 60-minute game behind closed door where a lot of the senior players who didn't feature at the weekend against West Ham actually played a full 60-minute game. Xherdan Shaqiri scored, Daniel Sturridge scored a penalty, Dom Solanke scored 2 goals in that. I think Adam Lallana was the other goal scorer as well. The senior players winning out 5-0 in that one, but Joel Matip obviously stepping up his rehabilitation and came through the game unscathed, which is obviously good. Probably too soon to be considered an option for Crystal Palace on Monday, but maybe the week after we could be looking at a Joel Matip return to the lineup. But you know what, if Joe Gomez handles the threat of Christian Benteke and Wilfried Zaha well, which we hope obviously that he does do, then maybe it's time to give him a turn at right centre-half alongside Virgil van Dijk, at least until Dejan's back off his, 3 or 4 week injury. So there we go. And finally, a little bit of transfer news before we move on to the general football topics. Middlesbrough are looking at Marko Grujic, 22-year-old from Liverpool. Serbian's impressed during his loan spell at Cardiff City, and Borough would like to take him if their move for Mo Besic of Everton falls through. Grujic is a really interesting one, isn't it? Obviously, he's turned down a move to a Premier League side in Cardiff City. Now, it turns out, again, I was talking to James Pearce this morning, and he was offering some insight on this, and it turns out that Liverpool wanted him to sign a 5-year contract before he moves out for loan, whether that's to secure his future or to secure value for a potential transfer. It seems like Grujic has not wanted to sign that new contract, and that's one of the reasons that he never actually went to Cardiff. Will Marko Grujic sign a new contract at Liverpool before moving out? It looks likely that he is going to go out. Championship club over a Premier League club. He's lived the Warnock life though, so who knows. Also, I think there's other clubs in and around sniffing around Marko Grujic. CSKA Moscow was one of those sides who were interested in him when Liverpool bought him off. I think it was Red Star Belgrade a couple of years ago. Will that come to fruition? Not quite sure yet, but I'll keep you posted as soon as I know any more. Okay, a bit more general football topics now. La Liga are set to stage a match in the US as battle to match the Premier League grows. So regular season fixture could take place as early as this season, but El Clasico would remain in Spain under proposals at least this season. So let's have a look at this one. This is from The Guardian. La Liga is set to stage a regular season match in the US, possibly early this year. The league said on Thursday it is planning to play a match across the Atlantic as part of a new 15-year partnership with Relevant, who run the International Champions Cup that Liverpool played in pre-season. Mental. I mean, this is one where I think we need a lot of comments and interaction, but I feel very torn on this one. I think, you know, naturally, you know, you start thinking about the Premier League, you start thinking about Liverpool's home games being moved over to another country and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, no, I do not want a piece of that action whatsoever. I understand that you want to grow the market over there and stuff, and your commercial opportunities over in America, but do not take a game away from me at Anfield. That's not something that I ever want to see. Flip side of that, I've now been to 4 of the NFL regular season games in London, and I've enjoyed every single one of them. It's a way for me to get closer to another sport that I absolutely love. You know, I went to see the Patriots, I think it was 2008, something like that. I saw the Vikings beat the Steelers. I saw the Lions beat the Atlanta Falcons, and I also saw the Vikings beat the Browns last season. So, you know, I'm a Vikings fan. I've managed to see the team that I love in the NFL twice in England, and it was a fantastic day out, and it's always been really well received from English NFL fans. So I've got two sides of me just completely split in two here, but you know what? My heart's going to win out on this one. Do not take Premier League games away from Anfield. That's not something that I want to see. The Premier League is big enough around the world now. I mean, it just feels so much like money grabbing, and I know that that's what these businesses have to do. La Liga are obviously probably moving first on this because they have fallen behind the Premier League and television rights and everything else, but it's partly because of the way that they divvy up money in the first place, you know what I mean? The way that Barcelona and Real Madrid get so much of that cash from any television revenue that the other sides can't compete. Is anyone really going to care about, like, you know, Getafe against Deportivo? No, no one's going to care about that in Spain. They would, in the USA, they would care about Barcelona, Real Madrid, though, I guarantee you that. And as soon as that's taken away, as if Barcelona and Real Madrid want to see El Clasico played over in America, I mean, we should have seen this coming, because obviously I think it was the Super Cup has just been played over in Morocco this season, hasn't it, for them? So, or at least it's about to be played. I'm not sure where it's up to, but we should have seen this coming. Mad, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And final piece of news, obviously broke yesterday. Everybody's been talking about it on social media, and it's this Kevin De Bruyne injury. You know, he suffered a knee injury in training, could potentially miss like 2 months of action. You're looking at probably 12 games, something like that, or maybe 8 to 12 games. I mean, that's going to be a huge blow to Manchester City, but they have got the squad to be able to cope with that. Obviously, it's probably a good thing for Liverpool. You don't want to see players of his quality sat on the sidelines. You just don't, even when you're in a title race. And listen, best case scenario, Kevin De Bruyne is fit all season and Liverpool win the title, and they haven't got an excuse because Liverpool are the best side in the league. It is decent for Liverpool, but again, you know, obviously wish him a speedy recovery and stuff, because he's a quality player that I really enjoy watching. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. So we're going to get started on it. Let's start with some of the Mignolet and Karius stuff, if you would say.
Okay, so Jack Bohr says, if both Karius and Mignolet leave either this window or in January, would you stick with Grabara Kelleher as backup, or would you be tempted to go and buy another keeper as backup?
I mean, I don't think we can. Unless they were on a free or something like that.
No, but I think he means, would you go and sign one straight away in January? Would that be
sorry. I probably wouldn't do it, to be honest with you. I think, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen in the future. And the probabilities are, touch wood, that Alisson stays fit this season, but you just don't know, and it could massively derail our season if we were having to put the likes of Grabara or Kelleher in or something like that. I would certainly keep one of those two goalkeepers. I just think it's stupid to offload both of them. But I've been wrong before. Klopp's proved me wrong many times over his tenure as Liverpool manager. Should we go to the next one?
Yeah, so just one thing. LA Football, I've just seen your comment. Send an email to simon@theredmentv.com and we'll try and sort something out. Back to the Karius and Mignolet thing. So Emmanuel Mensah says, this is stupid. What if Alisson gets injured? I wouldn't take that chance if I was Klopp.
Yeah, I you know, almost exactly what I've just said there. In a season where we want to be fighting on more than one front and we want to be really challenging for the Premier League, it would be bananas to go and get rid of both of them, in my eyes anyway.
So a couple of people have said who they'd rather keep out of the two of them. So Joseph Duran says, I'd rather keep Karius over Mignolet really, but not that bothered as long as we keep hold of one of them. And Nihad Hussein says, your backup keeper should be a bit older, a bit reliable, and should be able to get a job done while the keeper is out. Mignolet is much more suited to be our backup, not Karius, who's rotting his career. I think that might be a little bit too far, but...
No, you know what, I think there's some good points been made there. I suppose the one thing that I would say is, if it's a long-term injury, let's say that Alisson was to pick up, then I would probably rather have Karius there, because at least I know the style of football thing is going to help us. Mignolet and Karius have both proved over their time at Liverpool that, you know, they can't 100% be relied upon. So I suppose it's pick your poison. I fall down on the Karius because I think he's had more good games in a shorter spell of time than probably Simon Mignolet. But that mental thing is the thing that makes me think, oh, maybe you do want to keep Simon Mignolet almost a safe pair of hands, if you will. Ahmad Sissoko, thank you for the blue super chat. Hi from Washington, DC. Hope to visit Anfield very soon. Yeah, thank you very much for watching all the way over from DC, man. If you do get the chance to go to Anfield, I'm going to do a little plug here for Home Baked. Absolutely, it's a community. Well, what is it? It's a community bakery. That's probably the right word. You know, these people give up their time to make pies, bread, coffees, absolutely everything, feed people. And it's all the money's ploughed back into Anfield. It's definitely part of my matchday experience. It should be part of yours if you come over. Get to the park as well for a little bit of a sing-song beforehand. Okay, next one, mate.
James Yeo says selling Klavan would be madness. I'd rank him third choice centre-back. Okay,
wow. I think it's probably Lovren then, James, that you would rank as, you know, Lovren and Van Dijk as 2 and 1. And then you put in Ragnar Klavan, and that's interesting. I'd probably have... It's difficult. I wouldn't have Klavan as your first backup if it was the right centre-back going down, and I wouldn't really want to move Van Dijk left to right. He's definitely the first backup for Van Dijk. For me, you know, it's only been one game, but I'd probably like to see what Joe Gomez can do at the right centre half. Should we come on to some of the other stories, Si?
Yeah, so there's been quite a few comments about the La Liga and the USA thing. So JLFC says Super League, here we come, it's going to happen. So yeah. I think that's talking about...
Yeah. I'd like to hope not. I don't, you know, it's hard enough getting to Aways without moving them to different countries. I just... Personally, in the next 10 years, I don't see it happening. Something major would have to change. The Premier League earns so much money. I don't know, it's not something I can foresee. But, you know, there was talk of that. Was it the 39th game, was it called a few years ago, Si?
Yeah.
The 39th game of an extra Premier League game that would be moved abroad. And
I just think, how would it work?
I have no idea how that works. Like, I mean, that's absolutely mental. I read something on Twitter, or maybe it was in a YouTube comment about like maybe League Cup games or something like that, but just do not take away. Just ban that LA for us, mate. Not having that. I just wouldn't want to see a home game taken away, to be honest with you. Just not at all. Thank you very much for the blue super chat, Alex Lancaster. Really appreciate that one. Nice one. Have you banned him?
Yeah.
Is right.
So we actually had a comment from FGC. So most people would disagree with the American thing, but we've had a comment from what I'm presuming is an American saying, watch the pre-game match day video for the match against United in Michigan on this channel and see the United States passion. I don't think there's any question that the American fans have a lot of passion, but it's the fact that you're taking a home game away from a team if you're playing there over there. I'd imagine
that's what it is for me, you know. And you know, lots of people go home and away to Liverpool, and it's an expensive hobby anyway to be a supporter of a football club, and to add in a trip to America, that would just be absolutely mental. But also the fact that you're losing, I think you're losing advantage. You know, we made Anfield a fortress last season, and to go over there and play in a neutral venue, it's not something that I want to see happen. You know, I love the fact that we can make a difference at Anfield, and I'm not saying that the American Liverpool fans can't make a difference. But I'm being greedy on this one. I just want Liverpool to play at Anfield because that's what they've always done. It's Arabian Sun, Jack.
I think it's Libyan.
Do you?
It is Libyan. The war they're talking about was fought in Libya.
Was it, yeah? I've always sung Arabian, so apologies. Chris, how good was it to see Ramos getting stood on last night and crying, collecting his runner-up medal after what he said to Klopp? Says Owen. Owen, thanks for commenting, mate. I just do not care about him at all. It doesn't fill me with joy to see him because he's got a Champions League winners medal when we haven't from last season. I don't think he's arsed about that cup competition, to be honest with you. No. In the grand scheme of things, he'll look back on his career and it won't even be a blot on it. Ethan Uhalsan, do you think playing games at the US will pull players such as Pulisic? I don't think that would make too much of a difference. I think it's just about money. You know, it's about expanding the sport, and Liverpool and England and Europe is quite lucky in that the reason that probably the Premier League has grown as much as it has around the world, but maybe not in America as much as somewhere like the Far East, is that the times of day that these games are getting put on at and screened at. Now Liverpool can play at like a Saturday night and all that, and a Sunday night in the Far East, whereas I think it's much more difficult for the Americans because of the time difference. So sometimes it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's the real difficulty with breaking that. I think the NFL have struggled with that because they haven't been able to break into the Far Eastern market because of the times of day that their games are and what time they'd be screened in China. So for me, it's literally all about money. Thank you for the green super chat, Geordie Hoken. Green super chat, thank you. Have another 5. Get a pie or a pint. We'll get a home baked pie. We'll get 2. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Is that it, mate?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Kieran Cox says, and we'll end it with this, I love going over to Anfield. Kieran, I live 3 miles away. I love going to Anfield as well. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing to the Redmen TV on YouTube. I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.